for solutions. And that's one of the things I tell people at the doors is how do we make sure people know that we're hiring. We want bus drivers, we want aides, we want security guards. We need all three of those positions are so crucial, you know. Um, so we have again, we've made extensive strides to bring folks to the table on that note. We're really looking to one of the things is the teachers don't look like their students, and how do they relate to their students? In my district in particular, that would be a heavy lift considering where all of our students come from. So IPREP is working on being a translation academy, working with our community to become folks who can help translate within our schools, within the border, being right here next to the Peace Bridge. Part of the innovative schools notion that came around during, the terms that I've been on, where it's not so much a BOCES program anymore, but each and every high school has a specific route in our career and technology track, because we know every kid isn't, some of our kiddos, college is just not in their cards. Unfortunately, some of them would love for college to be in their cards, but they're first generation students, and some of our kids are helping to take care of the home and being the translators. You have 10-year-olds being translators for their family. So we have a lot to consider. And yeah, the CTE program is big. We're trying to work to, I'm sorry, my phone. We're trying to work to bring more teachers from Buffalo into the district. We've started the Urban Teacher Academy in McKinley as part of a track where students can start in ninth grade if they feel like they want to go into that track. And if they're successful when they graduate, they go into Buff State into that teaching program. This administration in this country doing what it's doing is really kind of hurting our district. We had the University of Buffalo Teacher Residency Program that was really geared toward bringing teachers to the Buffalo schools and encouraging teachers of color and culture to apply to their programs. And that was a lot of our teacher force, at least 75 to, I think it's 75 to 120 of those teachers in the small time it was around are in the Buffalo Public Schools right now. And then that program was cut. And it's devastating. I have a personal love for that program. My daughter Jada, she graduated valedictorian from middle early college, and she could have been anything in the world she wanted to be as a BPS student with that accolade, and she chose to be a BPS teacher, and she went through that program. And at 27, she's in her second year as a second grade full-fledged teacher. So the opportunities are just eliminated for our students who are from Buffalo, who are being recruited into this program to come and give back to their community. And that gigantic piece of the puzzle is missing now because, all of the blankety blanks and adjectives for this administration, insert them there. you know,
And it's definitely great to hear the success story. And I think that a lot of times not every, but local everyday folks, I guess is the best way to put it, or just folks that aren't necessarily politically aware, let's say, don't necessarily see how federal policy or state policy affects their daily lives. So I'm glad that you were able to establish that connection of how federal policy can affect a program where we had successful stories, and especially in promoting Buffalo teachers to stay within the district too. That's extremely important. I'm glad you mentioned that. And I kind of want to just think about, because we have this race happening for the mayor. You've been through three or two different mayors since Brown and now with the interim mayor Scanlon. What has your been experience with the two mayors with Brown and Scanlon and with the new mayor, more than likely going to be Ryan, let's be honest. How do you think that will be working with the school board with the past mayors and the mayor going forward? Sorry.
So, I'm trying to think of how to frame this without sounding like I'm pointing fingers. But I mean, you know, whatever. If somebody's got a problem with it, this because they're part of the problem, I guess. But the district and the city haven't had the best relationship. No, there hasn't been um, too much communication. We have a quote unquote, board member who's kind of a liaison to council, and I'm not sure how that's going because I don't think it's been enforced in a real way because it's already kind of a relationship that really needs some like a let's sit at the table, hash it out, and start fresh kind of meeting. And I'm hoping that moving forward we can have that because we haven't had it. And I'm not going to say, because to be completely 100% honest, I don't know who the onus on it was to create that space. I do know that if I had any power on the board, which, because we don't get along personally and we're all voting for each other to take these spots, y'all see that I haven't had any titles for a long time. And that's fine. But if I was ever to be given a title, that relationship would be a demand on my part. And I would, again, me from back in the day. You think for 1 minute, with the way the relationship with the city and the district should be, that I would sit back and not have that happen? And I'm hoping, being if I am reelected, I will be the longest running board member at that point, and I will insert that at this point demand because there's been some financial things that we've uncovered and that we've rectified as a district in the city, and we're on a much better path. We do have a education chair on the council who has actually reached out, and there's been relationship. It just hasn't trickled down to like me understanding as a board member. It's more, the executive team maybe, I don't know, but I do know that there actually is conversation and there is some sort of coming together with the board and the district. I just would like to see more of it, and I would like for every board member to be a part of that conversation or at least get results of that. Um, but that's all to come, right? That to me is kind of brand new. I hadn't seen that kind of relationship. So maybe it is being worked on and it's baby steps. I'm not saying that it's definitely not happening against this person. So I'm just saying that, I see it and I'm happy about it. I just would like to see a little more and it'd be something that I wish for. And I just want to point out, because some folks don't know, in a little bit of time we might have left, I don't know how many people know that this district is funded through state and federal funding. When people say that, my tax dollars, not if you're in Buffalo. Buffalo is funded through state and federal funding. We're part of the Big Five. That's five districts in this state. That's us, Syracuse, Rochester, Yonkers, and New York City that are funded through state and federal funding. Over 90% is state funding, and the rest is federal and different funding streams. And taxpayer dollars going into maybe the lottery and things like that help to fund the schools. But unlike surrounding districts, where I'm like, how come, Williamsville has this or this has this? Number one, we're the second largest district in the state with over 60 plus buildings. We have a lot more resources. We got to spread to a lot more folks, and the third most impoverished city in this nation. So, yeah. some schools might have a volleyball court as opposed to, or their own transportation line. They have their own transportation line. We would love that, but we're working with First Student because Buffalo just doesn't have the capacity or the monies to create their own transportation line. So I really needed people to hear that because in other districts, their voice is so crucial in how their district is run because they're paying their property taxes into the district. So they are to be at the table. That is a definite um, it's a requirement. It has to be. It's part of how that process works. But in Buffalo, that's not how it works. And we are held to the standard and the guidelines of the state and federal government for majority of our monies. So I need for people to know that and, just make sure that that's out there.
Thank you. I mean, you've been very informative, and I know no matter what the outcome of the election are, you're going to continue to be an advocate and you're going to continue to organize, and that's really important. And I don't want to keep taking up too much of your time. I know you got a lot of work to get done. It's getting close to the election. So, again, thank you so much for coming and speaking with me. I really appreciate all your hard work because it's definitely not the easiest to sit on the school board and do all the work for the students.
I appreciate that. Yeah, be a board member and run to be a board member has been proven to be, a little taxing, but it's got to get done. It's got to get done. And again, I'm not, you know, it's a democracy. Anybody that wants to run should run. I respect it. I'm actually honored to have opponents, and people think I'm crazy, but I am. And if for whatever reason people are running, I respect the fact they're doing it. And all of us are going all in. I'll tell you that right now. We're definitely going all in. So everybody's, antennas are perked up and I just can't wait until the fourth. Cannot wait.